There's a voice deep inside every dad calling him to lead. Society, vices, inner demons, negative thoughts try to dampen and drown out that voice, but it never goes away. Your wife feels it, your children feel it, and your heart and soul feel it too. It's the voice that starts off as a whisper, but then becomes a calling to be the tip of the spear for your family, a calling to play all out and lead by example for your children, a calling to build a legacy that will go on for generations, a calling to be the warrior dad you were born to be. Dads, our children need us now more than ever to be that beacon of hope, courage, positivity, and strength. It's time to rise as warrior dads together as a brotherhood. If you felt that twinge in your soul, it's time for the Warrior Dad Experience. Welcome. So excited to be here. I'm your host, Jeff Wickersham. This is the Warrior Dad Show. I am the founder of the Warrior Dad, creator of the Warrior Dad Experience. And in this first show, I'm going to dive into the why of Warrior Dad, give you some background on who I am, as well as dive into why, as dads, it's so important now more than ever to be that leader of your family. But before we get started, each and every show, I want to give you actions that you can apply to your life. One of the most fundamental, basic, straightforward, easy to do, easy not to do things is to breathe. So I'm going to guide you through 45 seconds of breathing. This is a powerful practice to get into. I was actually just on a Zoom with a dad jumping into the Warrior Dad Experience, and I gave him this strategy when he gets knocked off kilter. So you can use this in your life. And dads, as the leaders of our families, we need to share our journey. We need to share what we learn with our children. Because I always like to say it only takes one dad only, to change a family tree forever. So let's go ahead. We're going to breathe in, 6 count in, 2-second hold, 7 seconds out. We're going to do 3 rounds of that. We're going to do 45 seconds of meditation together. So I highly recommend, if you're watching this and you have the ability to stand up, shoulders back, chest high. We're going to close our eyes. We're going to breathe in through our nose. Let's go ahead and breathe in a 6 count. Hold for 2, out for 7. Another breath in for 6. Hold for 2, out for 7. Final breath in for 6. Hold for 2, out for 7. All right, fantastic. Thanks for doing that with me. That is a great tactic, great strategy. When you get knocked off kilter, life's going to knock you off center. It's inevitable. The key is how quickly do you bounce back to center? Breathing, 6 count in, 2 seconds out, or 2-second hold, 7 seconds out, 45 seconds, 3 breaths. The reason why I want you to count is then you can't focus on that negativity that might be creeping in on your mind. So let's get to it. The why of Warrior Dad. Why am I so passionate about leading dads into the best version of themselves so they can crush life personally and professionally? I had some experiences in the beginning of this year. I had a friend who had a friend, dad of 3 children, committed suicide. My sister knew somebody who was a dad, did the same thing. I was going through some deep soul searching of who I wanted to help, lead, guide in their journey. I'll get into it shortly about who am I, but I went through some dark, deep times in my life, trials and tribulations, times where I got knocked down on the floor and I didn't know if I could get back up. Luckily, I did. And I want to help other dads do that. I want to help other dads lead their family, be the tip of the spear, bring energy, consistency, accountability to each and every day. My goal, my mission, my target, my North Star is to impact, lead, guide 1 million dads, elevate 2 million plus children by January 1st, 2053. I'm dedicating my next 30 years of my life to that mission. Why? Well, as dads, we have record levels of obesity, anxiety, depression, isolation, suicide rates in middle-aged men. Dads, it's not working what we're doing. We sedate ourselves with alcohol, with porn, with gambling, with vices, with social media. Listen, I've been there. I've done that. It did not light me up in any way. It kept chipping away at who I was as a man, as a leader, as a husband, as a father. I'm not satisfied where society's headed. Anger, polarization, hatred. It's everywhere. How do we stop it? We stop it with ourselves. And then we guide and lead our children to do the same thing. For years now, the family structure has been constantly eroded. Think of a beach and the waves just crashing and washing away that sand. That's what has happened to the family structure in society in general. I'm here taking a stand. I need dads, I need brothers who want to stand with me. We do that, and we do it together. We do it consistently, day in and day out. We step in to that best version of ourselves. We close the gap, right? Our potential's up here. We might be here. We're on that constant, never-ending journey of closing the gap on our potential. We won't ever get there. It's not a distant shore. It's a North Star. That's a way to direct us to be the best that we can be. So important. That's how we make a dent in the universe together. That's the movement. That's the mission that I'm on. I'm dedicating my life to it. And that's the why of Warrior Dads. Because I know, and I've seen it in my family. I've seen it in my 2 sons. I've seen it in my wife. When we lead, when we bring energy, when we bring consistency, when we're accountable to actually do the things we say we're going to do, your whole family feels it. And I'll get into that in a little bit. So that's the why of Warrior Dad, right? That's the mission. That's the 30-year horizon that I'm headed towards. I'm committed to paying the price, whatever it takes. I know there are many, many, many dads out there who were like me years ago, suffering, depressed, anxious, lone wolves, suffering in quiet isolation. It doesn't need to be that way. I wish I saw asking for help as a strength years ago. I saw it as a weakness. I think we're kind of programmed as men to feel that way. It's the total opposite. Asking for strength is actually a superpower. And here's the amazing thing. So many people will want to help you. In my journey, so many people stepped in and helped me when I needed it most. So that's the why of Warrior Dad. That's why I'm so passionate about what I do. I eat, sleep, and breathe that growth for the dads I coach, that growth for myself, and then sharing, planting those seeds of future growth in my 2 sons and helping the dads in the Warrior Dad experience to do that in their own children. So incredibly powerful. So that's the why of Warrior Dad. It's why I'm so passionate. It's why I'm going to bring you energy each and every time I have one of these segments. I'm going to interview authors, coaches, mentors, people that have relevant information that we can take and utilize as dads. I'm also going to run some solo episodes where I can just lay down some wisdom. And here's the mentality as dads that I want you to have. It is not a lack of knowledge of why we're stuck. We've got supercomputers in our hands now. We have access to any kind of knowledge we ever want. But I want you to shift your focus and shift your mentality from being a librarian of the mind. So many times we're a librarian, meaning we learn something, we file it away. I want you to change from being a librarian to the Warrior Dad of the mind, being a warrior of that knowledge. And what does a warrior do with that knowledge? They take action. Action day in and day out. It's not for a lack of knowledge that we're stuck, suffering. It's from a lack of action. We need to have the courage to move forward. So as I share strategies, tactics in these episodes, as I interview authors, coaches, mentors, they're going to give you tidbits of information. They're going to give you tactics, strategies, tools that you can leverage, that you can be a better dad with, that you can share with your kids. All those factors, I want you to take action. Just always, always remember that. Are you a librarian or are you a warrior? Embrace that warrior mentality in every aspect of your life. Because let's not beat around the bush. Life is a battle. It's a war. It's a fight. And we need to have that mentality of being on our toes, attacking day in and day out. Are you going to get knocked down? Absolutely. I have many times. Are you going to feel like giving up? Absolutely. I have many times. But with that warrior mentality, you only need to get up one more time than you get knocked down. And if you have breath in your lungs, you're always in that fight. So that's the why of Warrior Dad. So let's transition. Who the heck is this bald dude talking to you today? And how does he have so much energy? So first and foremost, dad of two boys. Jackson's 15, Carter's 13. Husband to my wife, Heather, 17 plus years. Dad, husband, son, brother, leader, overall man in society, right? That's who I am. I'm a certified personal trainer. I used to own a gym, nutritional coach, so I've kind of got a fitness background. Also a certified heroic coach. And I'll tell you, I do everything myself. I'm a practitioner. And I was just having this discussion today with a dad that jumped into class 6 of the Warrior Dad Experience. And I said, I'm a practitioner. I read, take action. Luckily, I have the ability to read complex things, dumb it down so I can understand it, deliver it away that others can understand it, and I take action from it. And I will never give you on the show, just like when I'm coaching my clients, my dads in the Warrior Dad Experience, I will never give you something I haven't done myself. And I feel like that gives a power, an energy, and an authenticity to the message. It also allows me, as I learn, put these things in action, to share it with my two boys, 15 and 13-year-old sons, right? So important as we go about our journey as the Warrior Dad. We've got to show up. We've got to not only learn it, we've got to take it action ourselves, but then we've got to share it with our kiddos. That's how they learn the best, by us doing, us showing up, not just telling them. So incredibly powerful when you think about it. At a base level, 3 things that are so important to who I am as a dad, husband, leader, man. Energy. Energy is number 1 in my world. So many dads are struggling with energy, struggling getting energy and struggling sustaining energy. You're going to hear a common theme throughout the shows of how we can dial in our energy. Beginning part of this show, what do? Breathe. 3 breaths, 6 count in, 2 second hold, 7 seconds out. That is a great way to center yourself and get your energy dialed in again. Life knocks us sideways throughout your day. You get knocked off kilter. Great way to get back to equanimity. Breathe. 6 count in, 2 second hold, 7 seconds out, 3 breaths, 45 seconds of meditation. It's something small, simple, easy to do, but it's also easy not to do. And it's so automatic. We don't use that often enough in our lives. So energy is so important. Energy, zest, that virtue is the number 1 virtue correlated to success and thriving in life. I mean, think about it. You've probably seen people that you come in contact with, and it is like a bolt of lightning in your world. This person is so high energy. They're chasing life. They're on their toes. We want to be around those type of people. We want to have our close circle, have a couple of those people in our world to pump us up. You've also seen the opposite. And this is how the majority of people play. You can go to Target, you can go to the grocery store, you see them all the time. One, they're on their phone. Two, they're walking around like walking zombies. They're not bringing energy, zest, a love of life to each and every day. Energy, so important. The other factor, number two, consistency. Showing up day in and day out. I was just interviewed on a podcast earlier today. We talked about consistency. I said, you can have energy, you can have focus, you can have time, and you can dedicate that to something you want to chase. That's inside the parentheses. Outside is a C. That's consistency. It's the ultimate force multiplier. You show up with energy and consistency day in and day out, it is going to be tough not to be successful. So consistency is so important. And then the last component that I'm huge with is accountability. When you say something, you need to do what you're saying. And so many dads don't have anybody that holds them accountable. They might say one thing and they don't do it. If you're parenting that way, that's a huge mistake. You can't say one thing and do the other because the kids are watching what you do more than what you say. So consistency, energy, accountability, three values, three virtues that I hold near and dear to my heart. I would also like to take just a step back and share how I got here because my arc, my journey is important. I wear a pink wristband on my right forearm. Little close to nine years ago, unfortunately, I lost my mom to breast cancer. Kind of crazy how today is her birthday. Almost 9 years ago, I watched the woman that brought me into this world leave this world, take her last breath. That fragility of life, 2x4, smacked me clean upside the head. I questioned what life was about, what my impact would be. The last deep conversation I had with my late mother was about legacy. I was driving her, short story, I was driving her, taking her to a treatment down at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. She was going on hospice care, so we knew the end was near. And we talked, and she shared, she was just worried she'd be forgotten. That years would go by, her grandchildren wouldn't remember who she was. I didn't know it then, but I took the baton from her. And I remember telling her that your legacy will live on. It will live on through me. It will live on through my two sons. But it made a dent and a huge impression in my mind of when we get to the end of our life, we're going to be worried about our legacy. So today, as dads, we should be worrying about our legacy. Hardest thing I ever had to go through, but it was the spark that transformed my life. I turned that pain into purpose. I wear the pink wristband to remind me that each and every day is a gift. When I might feel like I'm getting sideways, when I might feel bad about myself for whatever reason, I look at that pink wristband and I think about my late mom, grandmom to my two sons, and I go, no, she would give anything to have just one more day with her 3 kids and 7 grandkids. That's some of the power behind my purpose. That's some of the reason why I speak and I'm so passionate and energetic. When you have those life events, yes, they can have you crawl into a hole, be a victim for a while. I was angry at the world. But then as you process it, as you heal, you can transform that pain into purpose, and that fuels me today. I mentioned I'm a practitioner. I do what I coach day in and day out. Today was 2,124 straight days of meditation. If you're trying to do the math, if you divide it by 365, I'm almost to 6 straight years. 10 minutes every day. Haven't missed a day. Ran the David Goggins 4x4x48 twice. Once in 2021, once in 2022. If you're not familiar with that, 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours straight, almost the equivalent of 2 marathons over a weekend. Why? I love pushing the physical boundaries because it unlocks mental strength. In addition, this past year, I threw down my own challenge, the Wickersham Challenge, 26 rounds, 1.01 mile run, 50 pull-ups, 75 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, 26 rounds of that. Took me 16 and a half hours. The worst physical and mental pain I've ever experienced. But it unlocked that next level. When we push ourselves physically, it's amazing how mentally it can unlock your next level. So that was just a little bit about me, so you know who I am. You know how I'm going to operate. You know how I'm going to show up each and every time I bring in an episode. Now let's transition to leading your family from the front. And I didn't do this when my boys were younger. I was drinking a lot. Porn was in the equation. Gambling was in the equation. Social media, sedating myself, numbing the pain because I knew I had potential, but I wasn't living up to it. Recent years, leading from the front, showing up as the best version of myself, sharing what I'm learning with my 2 sons, them buying in to the things I'm doing day in and day out, to those fundamentals that give us the base to leap off from in life. Dads, our family is waiting for us to lead. You're hearing a lot of things out in society, in news, that dads don't matter. There's nothing farther from the truth. Your family is waiting for that leader, waiting for that energetic force to show up, to be the best version of themselves, to guide your kids. They are waiting. And here's the amazing thing. When you start to show up, when you pour into your kids on a daily basis, it will light you up. It will give you a jet fuel like no other. Heard a statistic a couple weeks ago. Pretty crazy. As dads, we need to be aware of this, that by the time your kids are 12, studies have shown that you've spent 75% of your time with your children. By the time they're 18, 95% of your time has been spent with your kids. That means the remainder of their life, you might only get 5% with them. Might cause you to think, maybe I need to put away the phone tonight. Maybe I need to be an intentional dad of the year, husband of the year when I'm with my family. They're waiting for you to lead. And by leading by example, they will follow. Also, another great strategy to think about. When we tell, when we yell, when we deliver in a message that's pretty abrupt, most times our kids don't like that type of authority, especially when they become teenagers and they start to become their own thinkers. Great strategy, and I want you to leverage this. Share your journey. Share what you're doing. If you found something out, hey, use those 3 breaths to share at the dinner table tonight. When you share rather than tell, I like to say it kind of slips into the side door of the mind. All of a sudden, what happens? Your kids start getting curious about what you're doing. You share it again. They pick up these little seeds for future growth in your journey. And it can be good stuff, and it can be bad stuff. It can be stuff you're proud of, you're not so proud of. You got to be vulnerable and share both sides of the story. When you can share both sides of the story, they're going to buy in. They're going to adopt what you're doing. They're going to be so more willing to do the work that you want them to do. But it all takes you standing up and leading from the front. I will tell you, this past year has been transformational for my family. My wife, 2 sons, and I sat down at the beginning of the year and we set our missions for the year. We wrote them down. All of us are tracking them. All of us are on our toes on the attack. When you're on your toes on the attack, when you're playing offense, life is fun to live. Unfortunately, so many are playing defense on their heels. I've coached basketball for my sons for years. When you're on your heels, It's exhausting to play defense. Your knees are bent, hips are bent, your quads burn. It's no wonder why you flop on the couch at the end of the day. You have nothing left. But by setting missions, being on the attack, being a collective unit, it transforms you from a dad, a leader, but also your family. Think of it as a sports team running out of the tunnel, all headed in the same direction. So many times, everybody in the family is going every which way. When you can be connected, you can support each other, you can love each other. That's the Warrior Dad way. I appreciate you watching, tuning in. New episodes will be coming out every Tuesday at 2, Wednesday at 2. What I love to say is it only takes one dad to change your family tree forever. Dare to be uncommon. Love, lead, legacy. Create a legendary day. And I'll talk to you soon.